Saturday, Flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? Weren't those foxes amazing? I mean, we just stood there and just couldn't believe that we were able to witness that. It was magical. It does appear that they're living in the shrubbery of a house that is down the road. I mean, that property has a fair bit of open kind of open space that's not overly manicured, and I think that is where the mother has set up a little den. We had seen one kind of circling the house every morning. That's normal. Every year we usually get a fox that sort of patrols the neighborhood for about 3 weeks and then moves on. So that wasn't something unusual that surprised us, but seeing the young ones come out, that was a big surprise, and realizing that they'd been living there was quite something. I know many of you will be quite concerned about Sasha, who is my neighbor's cat, who actually for a short time kind of became sort of my little part-time cat. I do sometimes still see her, though once I did let the neighbors know that the fox was back in the area, so I suggested that they keep Sasha inside. I know kitty cats are prey for foxes, as are many other small animals. So Sasha is safe and sound, and they have been keeping her indoors. So she's safe. She's such a sweet cat. I do miss that cat. But she would be a snack for Luna if she were to come over here anymore. So sadly, that had to end. I do miss her. Okay, so I have a few things to talk about this morning before I get into showing you my crafting from the last couple of days. And I'm going to start off with a mention about the Stitch North Facebook group. That is a retreat that is planned for the end of September of this year. John and I haven't made a final decision about that retreat. We're waiting just a little bit longer until we decide whether or not we can actually safely move ahead with those plans. But I will be very upfront in that, you know, we're considering all possibilities, and we'll just have to take it one step at a time. However, the Facebook group, we have started a smalls exchange. So if you're a member of the Stitch North retreat group and you were planning on coming to the Stitch North retreat, or you were part of the group because you were interested in the retreat and you were hoping to maybe come next year, I use the word we loosely, royal we, and in fact, it's not even me that has organized this entire thing. I have to give full credit and full props to my friend Sylvia Perez Hardy, who is the organizing genius behind this exchange. Now, this came up probably about 2 weeks ago now, and yes, I am mentioning it late into the game, only because I didn't want a whole pile of people signing up for it who were only interested in the smalls exchange and weren't really going to be a part of the group, if that makes sense. This is an exchange for the Stitch North retreat group. But then I thought if I didn't mention it, then that would be kind of weird as well, because I'm going to participate in this exchange. So if you're a member of the Facebook group, if you're a member of the retreat, if you had planned on coming, if you know, or if you were planning on coming next year or in years to come, you are welcome to participate in the retreat. There is a form to fill out. You can find it in the file section of the Facebook group, and you fill that out and you email it to the email that is given in the information, and Sylvia is organizing the whole thing. It's going to be a lot of fun. So it's just something small, and this is going to happen. This is going to take place whether or not the retreat happens at the end of September. So if we're a go ahead and we all can meet at the end of September, those of us who are there will exchange our smalls in person, and if we have to postpone, then we will exchange our smalls by mail. So the thought is that we have our smalls in the mail by September 1st. Everybody who's participating, September 1st is the date that you pop it in the mail. We are going to request that you purchase tracking for your package so that we can be sure that everybody's going to end up with an exchange, and then we can share our exchanges on the group. So yes, and I know this is last minute, and like I said, there were reasons for mentioning this because it is rather a small thing. So registration for this, we're gonna limit it until tomorrow, which is Sunday night. So just a little something to look forward to. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about was yesterday's video, Focus on a Designer, Lina cross stitch on Etsy. I know, right? Just jaw-droppingly good. So Mika, Darling Bluebell, sent me, she left me a comment on yesterday's video, and she said, have you checked out Surrey Mini on Instagram, because she's actually finished a lot of Lina cross stitch patterns, and there are a number of other people posting, both Flosstubers and people on Instagram and stitchers in general, part of the community, who are working on these designs because they're phenomenal. But Surrey Mini seems to have quite a number of them. And it was funny because I've actually had a chat. Now, I should tell you, at Surrey Mini is her Instagram handle, and I'm going to leave a link to her, both her Instagram and her Etsy shop in the drop down box below, because Deborah, that's her name, Deborah lives in Belgium, and she has an Etsy shop. She is currently selling cloth masks and also needle minders as well. And again, she is in Belgium. So I'm going to leave a link in the drop down box below directly to her shop and also her Instagram page. And I had a chat with Deborah this morning on Instagram messaging, which, by the way, side note about Instagram messaging, if you send me a message over there and I'm either not expecting it or we haven't connected in the past, chances are pretty good that I'm going to miss it. Because Instagram messaging, I don't know what it is with their notifications, but I never seem to get notifications about their messaging. And my daughter would tell me it's probably my own fault because I'm old and I don't understand technology. I don't know, but I get messages there. And the other really bad place is Facebook Messenger. Facebook Messenger, I kid you not, messages go in there to get lost. They go there to get lost because I will find messages in there that I think, this message is 3 weeks old and I never saw it. So the best way to get a hold of me is email, caroline@evertote.com. But even then, in the last month, I have had 2 people say, I sent you an email, did you not get it? Because you haven't responded. I try to get back to people within a week. I like, and that's max, within a week. If you haven't heard from me in a week, I apologize, first of all, but it's likely that I didn't actually receive it. I have occasionally found a couple of messages in my spam folder. I have also, the other thing that tends to happen is if you don't double check and you're emailing me for the first time, autocorrect will sometimes change Evertote to Evernote. So just double check that you've actually got the T in there for Evertote and not the N for Evernote, and then that might help as well. Okay, so getting back to Deborah, we had a conversation this morning on Instagram, and she said, oh, I just watched your Lina cross stitch video and I love her patterns and I've stitched a whole pile of them and I'll send you some pictures. And I said, I know, because I was just scrolling your feed and I was going to mention you on the video today. So it was really funny. So I am going to insert the photos that Deborah sent me of her Lina cross stitch designs that she is currently working on in the ending of this video, during the music portion of this video. I only have 2 viewers stitching crafting to share with you today. Josh and Ruth, I will be sharing what they are working on while we visit together. And yes, it is Josh of the Josh, my Josh. And Ruth sent me the most beautiful letter. And Ruth, I will be responding to you tomorrow morning when I can spend some time composing a proper response to you. So just so you know, I appreciated your words. Thank you. Okay, so, but I'm out of viewers crafting. So I'm gonna need a few more of you to send me some emails so that I have a few more pictures to share at the end of Monday's video. So Caroline@evertote.com. So, okay, so again, I will pop those photos in at the end, and that leads me to another question that I had come up in the comments on yesterday's video about the Lina cross stitch patterns. Somebody asked whether I could tell one of the designs had used a variegated floss or whether it was multiple flosses in the charting. And I can't answer that because I don't have the pattern myself. But I can tell you that any of these charts will work with whatever thread you have. If you want to do the entire design in a variegated hank of silk floss from, you know, one of the sellers out there, or if you want to stitch it with, you know, one main color and 2 accent colors, the world is really wide open on these charts for your own interpretation of color. And that's what I love about Deborah's photos that she has sent me. It's very clear that some of the thread that she has used is not a lot of color change, and then others have a little bit more noticeable shift in the variegation of the thread. And so you really, it's wide open. You can do whatever you want, and I think it's I think that's exciting. I think that's really quite cool. So I think you're really going to enjoy Deborah's work at the end, and thanks again for sending it to me. It was a nice chat with you this morning. Okay, so those I think were, oh, speaking of hanks of silk, one of Deborah's designs, she said, oh, I used I think it was tropical, either tropical, I don't know, but I will edit it in after the photo that I put in. But she used a hank of silk from Mrs. Sadis. There might be a hank of silk from Mrs. Sadis winging its way to me currently. And if you've known me for a while, it will be no shock at all as to which color it is. You just, what can I say? If you know me, you'll already know what color it is. And I'm okay with that. It's my favorite color. Why wouldn't I? I couldn't resist. I practically drooled on the screen when I saw it. So she had some more come up and I snapped one up. So it's on its way to me. That's exciting. Okay. What have I been working on? Well, I did a little bit more big gray sock. Proof is in the pudding. I have 6 more rounds to do, and then it's time for the toe. That's it. I've measured, counted. I hope I've done it correctly. Otherwise, they will be a little bit different. Now, the legs are slightly different. The one sock I think is maybe 2 or 3, 4 rows longer than the second sock. So that may hinder me in having enough of the one skein of yarn. But like I said, that's okay. I have another skein. It's a good excuse to open it up and then knit a pair for myself. So I'm almost to the toe. I'm closing in on a finish. And yes, it has taken me forever. And that's okay. My father-in-law, I think I've mentioned, he is now not scheduled to come home until the beginning of July. So, you know, he is in remarkably good spirits considering. He's safe. He's in a safe place. His brother was quarantined with him because he was visiting at the time of lockdown, and so he has company. He's not alone. and mentally he's doing okay. So we miss him. We do miss him. And I really should try to finish up his socks, even though he's not going to be back home for a little while. Big gray sock, it's coming. Okay, the other thing that I worked on was my Glendon Place Hope and Strength stitch along. This is a free PDF download from glendonplace.net, and Cheryl of Glendon Place also sells the supplies to kit up her charts on her website. This is a 32 count Picture This Plus fabric in jade, and I am using the called for Dinky Dyes silks, and I know this color is not showing up very well. No, too bright. Too bright. There. Oh, right there. Right there. Oh, it's so pretty. So I finished the line of words. All you need is hope and strength. And I had some leftover floss, so I started on the line above with the O, and I came over and I started I just couldn't wait anymore to start that border. And I was right, that floss is Ocean Grove. I think this is Ocean Pine and this is Ocean Grove. It's gorgeous. I love that. Love that silk. Beautiful, beautiful floss. So I'll be working on this a little bit more tomorrow. There is a hashtag for the stitch along, hashtag Glendon Place Hope and Strength Sal. And if you're participating, you can pop that up on Instagram if you'd like to share. And again, it's a free PDF download. You don't have to use the called for materials. You can use whatever you have in your stash and just join in. It's a beautiful pattern. Yeah, I really love this one. Okay, last night, the Friday off the grid stitching party, I was determined to get to the bottom corner of Savon by Landmark Tapestries and Charts. I did not get to the bottom corner of tapestry, my tapestry piece, because I was scrolling social media last night. It was just one of those nights where I would be like, right, okay, put the phone down. And then my hand would kind of sneak over and then I would start scrolling pictures again. And so I did okay, but I certainly didn't get to where I wanted to be, but that's okay. I took it off the bars so that you could see it. And that's where I'm almost there. I have 8 more stitches to get to the bottom corner. And do you notice what I noticed when I pulled it off the frame? Why did I not measure this more carefully before I started? Because I'm only gonna have about an inch at the bottom when I'm done. But I have 3 inches at the top, probably because I assumed I had a 3-inch border, because I always, when I purchased fabric that was cut, I always purchased a 3-inch border. But looking back, because this was so long ago that I bought this fabric, and Kathy at Thread and I cut it for me, it's quite likely that she cut it from like one big piece, and in order to make it work for the size of fabric that I was purchasing, she had to cut it and give me a 2.5-inch border instead of a 3-inch. And 10 years on, I forgot. So, you know, what are you gonna do? I can still, you know, it's fine. I have enough fabric. It'll just be a little bit tighter down here than I would normally like. But what do you think? Pretty great, hey? I know. This is all I want to do today. I literally, and I just want to go and I want to knit my sock on the porch with a cup of coffee. And I want to go upstairs and I want to put my Hope and Strength back on the frame and stitch that all day. And I want to sew on Josh's quilt all day. And I don't want to do laundry. I don't want to do dishes. I don't want to cook dinner. but you know, the family will start, well, they need clean clothes and they need to eat. So, oh my, I love it so much. Can you tell? It's not surprising. Okay, all right. I'll roll it back up again. Okay, that's what I had to share with you today. I am going to, it is now lunchtime, so I'm gonna go have a quick bite to eat. And I'm going to, since I'm gonna be in the kitchen, I'm just gonna get those dishes done so that I don't have to think about them again. Then I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna fold the laundry that is now almost done in the dryer. It hasn't beeped yet, so it's still going. And then I am going to spend a few hours this afternoon doing whatever the heck I want. And then I'll make dinner. That sounds like a nice plan. Okay. Have a great weekend. I hope that, you know, I hope you can find just a few minutes to just take a breath and find just a moment of happiness. I wish you well, and I will see you on Monday. Take care, everybody. Happy stitching.